What's up, guys? How's it going? It is Matt here. So I'm gonna, I've been busy moving and I've been following what's been going on out there, but I haven't really had time to post many videos or anything like that. So right now I'm gonna be covering what happened down in Florida, and I'm gonna talk about some actual, real, common sense methods that we could actually prevent this gun violence on our children. So, there's a lot of people that are looking for answers. They're looking for answers. How did this happen? How could this have happened? How did this monster go into this? How did this all happen in the first place? Why wasn't it stopped? There's a lot of factors that came into play in what happened down in Florida that actually allowed this tragedy to actually happen. First of all, we have a great background check system. We do. Federal, state, all a great background check. In order to actually purchase a firearm in any state, regardless of what the state is, there is a federal and a state background check that has to be done. And the federal goes all the way up to the Department of Defense if they're on dishonorably discharged, the DOJ, you name it, goes all the way through the federal background systems. And then there's also a background check on the state levels if they have misdemeanors, all this other stuff. It all goes through, and there's very detailed checks that actually go into every purchase prior to a firearm. In a lot of states, it's required that you actually go out and you get yourself a permit, which requires a class that you have to take. On top of a class that you have to take, you have to qualify, you have to take a test that you have to pass the test, you have to shoot at the range, and you have to get, as an instructor, the instructor actually has to pass or fail you depending on what's going on. And then you have to submit that stuff to the local police department. Then after like 90 days at the local police department, then you have to submit it to the state. And then there's all these various background checks that go into actually purchasing a firearm. You can't make the system any better when it comes to it. I mean, that's what it is. There's insane amounts of background checks that actually go into purchasing any type of firearm. Now, a lot of people are under this misinformation that they think anyone can just walk into a gun store and buy a gun, and that's just not the case. The FFL, the people that are actually selling the guns, the FFL, the place people are selling the guns, they're under a lot of scrutiny. All right, there's a lot of scrutiny. If the paperwork is messed up, it's a minimum of a $10,000 fine, and they can take away that federal firearms licensing. So there goes your business. And if it gets even worse, they can actually just make you a felon because you didn't do it right. All your firearms are connected to a database that actually goes through the ATF, that actually goes through the federal level. And if one doesn't match with the other, guess who's held responsible? That's the FFL that's involved in it. Some people think you can go to a gun show and simply purchase guns and walk out with the guns, and that's just not the case, because once again, all the paperwork of the FFLs are actually selling the firearms are actually attached to the federal, state, to ATF, to everyone else. And if there's anything that goes wrong, that FFL can get a minimum of $10,000 fine or become a felon. So there's no loopholes. A lot of people think there's loopholes. There just aren't. There are literally no loopholes whatsoever when it comes to actually buying firearms. You can't buy it in the state, you can't buy it at gun shows or anything like that without going through the federal procedures and without going through the actual background check. A lot of people don't believe me, and the best thing to say to them is go out and try to buy a gun, and you'll see firsthand what it actually takes for you to actually get a gun. Even in free states like Arizona, it takes a little bit because they have to do the background checks and they have to get the paperwork just right, and the paperwork matches the ATF authorization numbers and all this other stuff, and it's a kind of a long process to get the gun. So I'm just going to throw that out there. You can't just, it's not something that is faulty. All right? It's not something that's faulty. It's a good system, and it gets the job done. It'll get the job done every time. But here's the thing. There's always going to be evil in the world. There's always going to be bad people in the world. There's going to be people that snap. I did an entire video on this, on how there's always going to be evil in the world, and we can't stop it. We can protect ourselves from it, but we can't stop it because evil makes choices. They make evil choices, and they do stuff with whatever tools are available to them to actually create their mass chaos. Something snaps in their head, they're extremists, whatever it is, and they will get the tools, even if they pass all the background checks. I mean, you can't go actually get into someone's head and actually get what their information is. They can look at their their arrest records and all this other stuff and all the licensing stuff. They can look at that, but they can't actually open up someone's head and get in there and find out what type what makes this person tick. So that the background checks and all the other stuff is not going to stop it. Basically, there's only one true method, one true common sense method that can actually stop these mass shootings in schools. One. All right, just one. Now, what happened is a heinous act, horrible act by an evil individual who did an evil thing and created chaos. But there's a lot of things that could have prevented it. posted out there, he was actually reported too. He was posted and reported they wanted to do a school shooting. He wanted to kill all these people, and he had a picture of him with his AR-15 and stuff like that. He was investigated, but no one actually stopped him. No one actually fully investigated it. They just left it alone. They didn't care. They didn't care. So they just left it alone because I guess it didn't mean anything. I guess this psycho guy is saying that he's going to go do this. We're not going to pay attention to that. It doesn't matter. It's been, proven in the past that it happens a lot. But they could have stopped him right then and there, but they didn't. The school resource officer, who was actually in the school, who was the only armed person that was actually in the school resource officer had left the building and didn't respond. He was close to it. I don't remember the exact story, but he was close to it. He could have responded. He chose not to respond to stop the shooters. Therefore, he's suspended. He's in big ass trouble. Yeah, suspended. I mean, this guy basically let a psycho with a rifle go in and start killing people. So now I'm going to throw this out there too, because a lot of people think it's the rifle, the bad thing. Oh, it's rifle, AR-15, horrible thing. More people are saved by firearms, including AR-15s, every day than more people are killed in a month with firearms. So you don't always hear those statistics, and most people don't want to hear those statistics. They just have this knee-jerk reaction where they just want something done now. It has to be done now, and there's got to be a common sense method, and these laws, these regulations should have stopped it. But here's the thing. There's a law against murder, right? These criminals still commit murder. There's laws against burglary. They still commit burglary. There's all kinds of laws out there, and people don't follow laws. Now, schools are gun-free zones. Due to federal laws, schools are gun-free zones, which basically means to someone who is looking for easy targets, for a psychopath, for a bad person, someone that's snapped or whatever it is, who's looking for an easy target, they know that if they attack a school or something like that, that they will make mass media, okay? Terrorists, mass media. They want the terrorists. They want to become a martyr. They want it videotaped. They want to go out with a bang. A lot of them, they want to go out with a bang. So they're going to choose these schools where there is no resistance whatsoever to commit their heinous acts, because they know they can do it. Because good law-abiding citizens like me won't have the tools available to us to actually defend ourselves against people like this. That's why they choose these gun-free zones to do that. So common sense legislation 1, get rid of gun-free zones. There's no such thing as gun-free zones. A gun-free zone to a criminal is just a place where they can go and commit their heinous acts. 2, if a teacher wants to carry a gun in school, absolutely let them carry a gun in school. Give them specific classes for scenarios where they can actually carry those guns and respond. Something got in my eye. So they can actually carry the guns and respond. 3, and here's the big one. The big one. Now let me ask you this one question. What do we protect our money with? Guns. What do we protect our lawmakers with? Guns. What do we protect our power grids with? Guns. Some people don't think so. Actually, power plants, believe it or not, they actually have armed guards that are in there, and they actually have like 50 cows that are like on top of the building. It's crazy, but it's actually true, believe it or not. I know a guy that actually worked at one. What do we protect our power industries with? Guns and trained people. What do we protect our school with? Signs? If you want to protect our children and you're looking for a common sense method or a common sense way to actually protect our children, here's one that will just nail it. How many unemployed veterans are there out there? Veterans who the government put hundreds of thousands of dollars into training per each one of them so they can effectively defend buildings, take out terrorists, so they are hard targets. The government put thousands upon thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars into each individual person so they could be damn good in a situation, damn good in a fight, and get out. And a lot of the veterans out there, believe it or not, right now are either entrepreneurs or they're unemployed. And some of them are in really crappy employment positions that is just driving them crazy. So how about this? Common sense. How about you hire veterans to defend your schools? A fire team or a squad of veterans per school. Now, I'm not talking about running around in full flak jacket and kit and everything else, running around the schools like that. I'm simply talking about blending in, looking like Ters, carrying concealed firearms, having long guns available to them, locked up when they're not using them, but available to them if something bad happens. Why not do that? Pay them a decent wage. Not like, you don't need to pay them a huge wage, just pay them a decent average wage. They will do it because they are willing to lay down their lives to protect innocent people, because that's what we're trained to do, and we're damn good at it. Veterans are no better friend, no worst enemy. The worst enemy to actually have to face up close and in person in a gunfight is a person who's been fighting gunfights and knows how to end gunfights quickly. And someone who has the audacity and has the willingness to defend what is right, that has the willingness to protect our children, the willingness to lay down their lives to protect innocent people. That's what veterans are. Hire them to protect the schools. And I guarantee you that if one of these psychopaths ever tries to enter a school, they won't get very far. Because you'll have a fire team or a squad of veterans fire maneuver onto the target and taking them out of the threat before it even becomes a full-fledged threat. Without even a doubt, that will be the best way to defend our children and defend our schools. You want a common sense method, that is the common sense. Those right there, that's the common sense way to take care of it. If you want to protect our children, protect our children. Don't put a sign up. How many places say don't walk in the grass and people still walk in the grass? I don't give a crap about signs. Signs are just an inanimate object, just the objects that's sitting there. However, people who enforce those rules and enforce things like that from happening, prevent stuff like that from happening. So put veterans, grunts, whatever it is, put them through specialized school training. It's not like, it won't be that hard for us to pick up. We're pretty damn good at what we do in the first place. Put them through specialized training. Give them the authorization to be actually carrying around in the school and actually be able to defend the schools. That right there is the true common sense method of defending our children, and our children are our future. So stop trying to sugarcoat things by making laws that might make people feel better, and actually do something, which means actually protect our children. If you like this video, guys, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about me, and remember, guys, it's our responsibility to take care of each other and protect each other. Peace.